Bike and kit washing. So I've emptied my bag, Climb knapsack. This is the kit I carry in it. Usually that's for the GoPro and a spare battery. They're on charge at the moment. Toolbox I use for my kit, dirty. Boots, knapsack. What I've always done with this is just empty it. I've never ever put anything in it but water. Never have done in what, 30 years of using Camelbacks hydration bladders. And I just use the Camelback insert. Drop that in there to keep it open, and then hang it up, let it drip dry. That's my doggy navigation, which I can't get to work. So washing the bike, washing the kit. I wash everything pretty much the same, although I use the power washer for the bike and the boots, and probably just a non-power washer for the other bits. And then when I've washed that, I'll nick wax that again to try and get some, it doesn't really waterproof it, but it's better than nothing. The dreaded pressure washer. I say dreaded because I hate setting it up. So the bike's not really dirty, it's dusty. We're British summer, 26, and we haven't had rain for about 5 weeks, I think. It's like Utah, so it's just dust. A note on these tyres, these grippers, that's 4 rides. Look at the edge gone, and the rear. I mean, there's no denying the grip, but I'm used to having Maxxis ITs, road legal motocross tyres, and they last me a year more. These aren't going to last 2 months. Anyway, so back to the washing. Should have water on now, yes. So just spray it down to start the soak. No power. More for mud this. I let it soak for 10 minutes or so, just to start loosening the mud where it's dried on, because I normally don't wash it the same day as I ride. I normally wait till the next day. Helmet is dusty, and that was clean. Well, everything was clean, it was spotless. Now I have this stand modified, otherwise it's hopeless, for the boots, but I don't actually wash them on here because it just blows it over. But I'll soak them on here. And I've got to say, I was sceptical about these boots, but they've been the best ones I've ever had. And I thought I absolutely loved my Siddies. Right, let that all soak. I've made this for drying the helmets. I'll make myself laugh. But I think it works. Right. Bit of power now. So I'm being careful just to wash here, not here against the seal. I will wash here, but from this direction. Same with the forks, not up in here, but across the way. I've just put seals in here. This is 5 years old, this bike. I've just put seals in here, the first set I've replaced yet. Still got the SKF original bearings, front and rear. I mean, I've had EXC and I look after a KTM, the equivalent. Sorry, Husqvarna, the equivalent. And sometimes they only last 6 months, the rear bearings on them. 5 year. Same with the linkage. I've put one bearing in and that was the lower shock mount. That is it, 5 year. So basically what I'm doing is I'm washing everything I can see with the bodywork and that, because I don't want to knock the graphics off or get water into the electrical connections, and what may be about just less than a metre away. There's only when I go into the tyres and probably the exhaust that I get really close in to give it a good clean, because this thing's powerful, very, very powerful. And this is the beauty of washing, you find out little bits and pieces that need doing. So that's it, just wash everything you can see. And then hit the deck and do exactly the same again. Everything you can see. Straight away you can see where I haven't washed. Look at that, I snapped that off the other side. It was sticking out the front. Wow. See out around your tyres are. Wash everything you can see. And then exactly the same again. There'll be less now, especially when it's not really dirty like this, but there will be some. Did X ring chain DID. That's the third one I've had, 5 years old, mind. Original exhaust, changed the silencer just for aesthetics. I don't think it's doing bad, you know. I was really worried about the reliability of a beater. I shouldn't have been, should I? Took some persuading my online friends to get it. So that's pretty much the power washing done. Pretty clean. I know if it were muddy it'd be a different game. Well, it's not a different game, it's the same game, it just takes maybe another couple of minutes. The magic sauce, which isn't rhino goo, although I did used to use that. This is Zep, there, all purpose. Mixed with water, I don't know what it is, it's on the pack I think. Should have got all this stuff ready, shouldn't I? Look like a proper YouTuber, professional. So I just soak this, absolutely soak it. and then leave it. Do the boots. And I will put them on the floor and power wash them if it's muddy. But because it's just dust, I shall just brush them as they are. And I put them on the floor. If I hit them now with a power washer, it'll blow them down into the brook there. I just put them on the floor and hold them with my foot. Turn them over. Helmet gets the same treatment. Sometimes take it liners out and wash it once a year, maybe on its birthday or my birthday, one or the other. But generally this is all I do. Everything gets a good soak. Oh, I always take that off. Blow through it, make sure it's empty, and then just leave it like that. And I've put that on a little drying pin. And that's it. As I say, I've been using these things since they first came out. When Camelback had the monopoly. Not that I use their products anymore, because they're far from being the best, and the company's a bit dodgy, I believe. I think they're anti-bike, them and Loctite in it. Might be wrong. So this is a soft car brush, so I will put some, it's like a paint restorer I put on it to clean it properly. This is just to get the big lumps of shit off them. I will try and pick how grass seed gets through my motocross jeans and into here, I'll never know. I'll try and pick it out every so often before it starts growing. And the bike, which is again is just like I did the helmet, is just two brushes. There you go. And I don't even take the guards out at all, never. Must have whacked that on something because it started to go white. Just get your heat gun on the plastic and it resets that. Sends it blue and shiny again. Moose in the front, trying the gripper moose, which seems to be nice. Better feel certainly than the Michelin. initially. We'll see how it wears, because the Michelin will last forever if you, well, not forever, but I can get 2-3 years out of a front one by cutting it and putting pieces into it, a bit like tyre balls is what I do. As it gets more worn, put more pieces in. That's a treat for me. That's loose. See, this is the beauty of washing. So these are 25, it's a 22 bike, these are 25 shrouds, and the bolt doesn't line up at the bottom. That's the only difference. So I just put a zip tie in there, cable tie, like that. So that's a little job that wants doing. No biggie, is it? First time that's ever happened, to be honest. See, I don't even think I do a particularly good job with the scrubbing. But everybody always says to me, Steve, your bikes are always so clean. Why? I'm going to show you in a minute. See this thing, tits on a bull. I'll get probably a scribe or something and scrape all that grass out. Because it can't be doing it any good. Right then, turn the power off, and I can rinse this. So you might think it's a harsh way to clean things, but this helmet, what's this, 2 years old I think. I've got one in there, I'll show you in a minute, that's 5-year-old, the previous one to this. Knee pads, I don't know, they're probably 3 years old. You can see the muck running out of them. Yeah, just rinse them until the soap stops running out. What? Grass seeds? How does it happen? It's not like I wear shorts. And I didn't wear, I forgot my body armour, so I didn't wear my body armour yesterday. So I would do the same with that. Yeah, I forgot to take my body armour yesterday. Felt a little bit vulnerable at times. Dust was the problem yesterday. Dust. You couldn't actually see where you were going. I might hang this up to wash it. Now I don't wash the backpack every time. I probably wouldn't have washed it today, but for making this. It's usually, if it's sheep shit, that's what usually gets me washing it in the winter. Right, that'll do. So these have what? A couple of minutes drip dry. There'll be no fuel in the float bowl because it's been on its side. Probably need a bit of chalk. So just let it run for a minute or so, and that's just to prove that it was running before I washed it, and it's running after I've washed it. Some oil in the bore. So that's it, washing. Now next stage, next and last stage. This is used to be WD-40, but I'm using, I think it's called MD-40 now. I live near Shrewsbury, and Morrison Lubricants are a local company, so I'm using their WD-40 equivalent. It doesn't smell as nice. I'm not particularly keen on the smell, but it seems to do the same job. And it seems to emulsify more in water. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's probably not a good thing, but that's what it is. So, oh, my sprayer's playing up. There we go. So, I'm not joking when I say this. I soak everything. So, now that's going to be probably controversial. Especially with my mountain bikers, fucking anal retentive twats, about the brakes. Look, I'm doing nothing to avoid, I'm not spraying directly on the brakes, although there's overspray going on there. They say that the oil will go in the pads and stop the pads working. Well, again, these are Galfa pads and Galfa rotors. I replaced that rear rotor about a year ago, so that was 4 years old, and I replaced the original pads when I did the rotor, and they didn't need doing. This one I've just ordered a rotor for the front here. It's had a couple of sets of pads. What I find is, yeah, this oil does affect the brakes, but you hold the back brake on for about a minute going down the road when I first set off, and that's it. Forget about them for the rest of the day. Tyres, rims, lubricate your spoke nipples, get some around the bearings there, on your sliders. Supposed to get underneath, although I think that's a load of bull. I've never noticed any difference. I just think it drives the... There's got to be water, haven't they, everywhere. Look, you see it emulsifying down there, and you see it on the floor. WD-40 doesn't seem to do that. Doesn't go white like that. I just think it's driving water out of every nook and cranny. It's got better creep than water has, oil, generally. So I think it creeps in there and knocks it out, forces it out, emulsifies it, whatever it is. And this is all I do for my chains, nothing more. Like I say, I think this is my third. The original black did O-ring chain, and I've had 2 X-rings since, and you can see that's not far from being worn out. You can see the water running out there, look. You see that emulsifying down there. And that's it. I do the same with the boots. Like I say, I put a bit of polish on the helmet, and then that'll get some nick wax when it's dry. So the boots get exactly the same. I don't bother with the soles, although I'm not really bothered if it goes on there. And they're not perfectly clean, but when you put them on, they look like new. You know, I could go get a Scotch-Brite pad or something and do that, but when I put these on, it's like putting a new pair of boots on. They look new. There's a right little bit of wear on them. I'll show you something now. Squeaky feet. There's my old helmet. That's, I don't know, 5-year-old maybe. I don't know. But I do know that these is this how you get into them? A new bag, so I'm guessing. These are at least 7 years old, and that's how they've been treated. Even the sole's pretty good, really. I cut grooves in the sole to give me a bit more grip, because all I do is trail ride. I'm not on the track anymore. They're at least 7 years old. They're probably older. Look at them. That's a scratch. I thought it was a crack. It's a scratch. You can replace the parts, and I have replaced some of the bits, but only those red ones there. I think I did this. Yeah, I did those as well. Replaced those. Look at them. There you go. Right, clean. Done.